Hi, I'm Patric here, and in today's training, we're going to be based on my best-selling book, The International Player. And in The International Player is where I share how a local player can become an international authority in the internet marketing niche or any niche market that you want to pursue worldwide. And for this one, for today, I'm going to expand on the topic called the 3 phases of international success. So basically, there are 3 phases to well-achieve international success. When I say international success, it means that your brand is globally known and you have customers from all around the world, not just in the local market. Of course, if you build your business locally, you can still have customers in the same country or in the same state, but also how can you get customers from all around the world in that sense. And in this concept, in the 3 phases, there are obviously 3 phases which I will touch base. But basically, I want to share with you some of the basic explanation on these 3 phases and also the start phase. The 3 phases are the start phase, the maintaining phase, and of course the growth phase, right? And today we won't be touching on the maintaining phase and the growth phase, but just on the start phase, the very beginning of it. But anyway, I'm just going to pick up some of the parts here so that we have some ground on today's training. So I'm just going to read the first paragraph. When you're growing as a human, you have phases of growth, from a baby to a toddler and so on. Obviously, you can't expect a small kid to know how to drive a car simply because he hasn't acquired that skill set yet. In fact, his legs are not even long enough to step on the pedals yet. So I just want you to understand the concept that everything that we have here have phases. So if we want to achieve success, we must understand that we got to get started in the start phase and know how to build the foundation well in order for us to go to the next step. And many people fail because they just go to the growth phase straight away. So they want to do the things that they want to do. They want to, for instance, let's talk about internet marketing. Right, so the very first step is to define your niche market. You need to know who you want to serve, the market that you want to serve. What niche market? You gotta understand your market before you can start the business. But many newbies, when they first get started, what's the question that they ask? How do I get traffic? Like, why would you want to have traffic if you don't even know who you are going to serve? Who are your market? What are the products that you want to offer to them? Have you created the so-called the right offer where people wants to buy? So if those are not ready yet, right? Why would we want to know how to get traffic? Because traffic comes at a much later stage. But you see, some newbies, they got it sort of mixed up in terms of the steps. So I want to give you another example where I wrote in the book, where I just want to share with you, is that it's nice to have a Starbucks cafe. Like, you see Starbucks is very successful, and wouldn't it be nice to have an automated business just like that, where people will just go inside there and buy coffee and then you make money and you don't even work, It's marvelous to think of having a cafe like that generates income passively for you. But the truth is that Starbucks did not achieve this degree of success when it first got started. It has its own start phase, and through the start phase, it has such a huge adversity, challenges, and so on. But most people did not see that. They just see the final result, the final outcome. As in, like, wow, this business is so successful. I want to have this business. But the question is that, are they willing to put in the same work and also the frustration, the emotion, baggage, and so on before they can achieve that? And also the money, the fund to build the business. Are they willing to part with their initial money, the money that they have, to invest into the business? So these are some of the key questions that subconsciously prevent someone to achieve success. So I share about the 3 phases here, and then I talk about the start phase. So this is the first chapter on the start phase, which I want to go through, and then I want to add in some of the additional content, some of the new knowledge that I have for the international player that were not in the book. Okay, so let me just go through with you about this concept here. That the start phase is actually the most crucial part of all. Is where you first get started, and at the same time, it's likely to be the most difficult phase of all. And most people will just fail and knock off in the very first phase. And how do you actually achieve success in this phase? It's actually not about the strategies or the tactics that you have. It's not even about the business model that you may have. So in this particular chapter, I speak of the most so-called important criteria for you to achieve success. And the most important criteria, in my humble opinion, is that you never get started if you don't have a compelling reason to get started. That's the first thing that you got to have. You got to have a compelling reason for you to start your online business or any business that you want to do. So without that, you will be just getting started for the sake of getting started, or you may feel that, hey, let's just try it and see what happens. I'll probably have a plan B. So what is your compelling reason? And how you define the compelling reason? Now, before we define the compelling reason, I just want to cover a few key points here. You can read this book 10 times and get excited with all the ideas and strategies you discover, and yet you still won't do it. Sorry if this doesn't sound motivating, but I'm preparing you to avoid failing in this business. You need to know why you want to become an international player, right? So in the book, I cover some of the triggers. Is it the massive income that it will unlock for you? Is it that the pride that it will give to you for being an international player? Is it the credibility that you need for the business? Or the connections you want to gain by reaching other international players? The sense of accomplishment that you're seeking, or what it is, think about it. So this is the first part that I cover. So I want you to understand that to become an international success, which is just a metaphor of getting customers from all around the world and having a global brand, is that there are three phases, right? You have the start phase, the maintaining phase, and of course the growth phase. And many newbies fall into the trap that they start to learn about the growth phase, all the advanced strategies and so on, which are good. But like I said, if you do not know who you are going to serve, what's the point of learning about conversions and getting traffic? So now, with that in mind, right, we talk about the start phase. The start phase is the most difficult phase of all, because you require a lot of energy, a lot of momentum to get things rolling. Now, and if you are able to get started, even taking the first very action, then you will see that the next action becomes easier for you to continue. And in order for you to have the right motivation for you to do that, right, it is not about having the right strategy at this stage, but it's all about here and here, right? Your heart and also your mindset. And you got to have a compelling reason. So ask yourself this question: what is your compelling reason? Now, really do it. I hope that after you watch this training, you figure out what is your compelling reason. Now, I want to add on towards this training that I did not cover here. There are two more reasons that I would say compelling enough for you to do it and to take action. Because if you can fix the psychology aspect, right, and you get started, and if you do it wrong, you fail, it doesn't matter, because you can try different strategies, you can try different tactics, you can try different business model, and then you can still continue. Do you understand where I'm coming from? The strategies can change, the tactics can change, but the psychology, you got to get it right. So with that, right, these are the extra things I want to share with you, how to create your compelling reason if you could not stick to it. The other point is this, is that what makes you fear? What makes you feel afraid? What is your greatest fear in that sense? Now, this is a concept of pain and pleasure that is taught by Tony Robbins, which I learned from. We either go towards pleasure or we go away from pain. Now, sometimes the pain is a better motivator than seeking pleasure. Here's why: because if you seek pleasure and if you do not get it, you will settle for something less. But pain is something that you don't want to experience that at all. So fear is your pain. So just think, what are you so-called afraid of? What is your fear if you did not achieve success? What would that be? Think about it. Now, I'm just going to give you one example. It could be, for instance, the fear that you are not able to experience specific thing that you want to achieve. Now, to give you an example, let's say is that you have set, I'm just going to make this up, right? That you have set a goal in your life that you want to go to Africa. I'm just making this up. It could be anywhere, it could be anything. That it is your dream that you actually go to safari, go to Africa. And you have to achieve success in order for you to achieve that. That is basically your fear. Or it could be that your greatest fear is that you will be looked down by people. I'm just making this up. I'm not saying you in that category at all. So please don't misunderstand my point. So what is your fear of not achieving success? That it could be your fear is that you're going to live like this for the rest of your life. Like you have to wake up 7:30 in the morning by alarm clock, and you can only go back at 5:30 or 6 p.m. and that's going to be your life, and you can foresee that you're going to be living that life for the next 40 years or whatever years, next 30 years and so on. You're going to be dragging yourself to that every single day. Or is that the fear is that you could when you grow old, you could be broke. That you know that when you grow old, there's no retirement plan for you because times has changed. If you haven't figured out time has changed, that maybe when you retire, there's no more money left for you at the rate that at the inflation rate and at the income that you're making. There's no money, and when you reach that, when you're 50 years old or 60 years old, you grow old and broke, right? And you don't want to have that miserable life because you've seen many old people who have no money and are quote unquote begging for money, and you don't want to be that. So that is your fear, and that's what motivates you to do what you're supposed to do right now to get started, right? Now, the other compelling reason, which I think is more powerful than this, is the compelling reason of your love towards someone else. So someone else is your motivator and not you, because sometimes you are quote unquote smart enough to lower your own standard and you can live by, but you cannot let down someone you love. So for instance, right, if the compelling reason is say your family, your child, your wife, your husband and so on, chances are you will not lessen your own goal in that sense. So for instance, right, what if that the compelling reason is your child? For instance, you make a promise to your daughter that by next year you will buy something for her, whatever that is. It's not about the material, but it's about the promise that you have said. Like for instance, I'm just making this up again. I had to say this a few times because it's about money, and sometimes it gets really sensitive, and some people, they're like super sensitive. I just want to make it clear that I'm not belittling anyone and so forth, right? So let's say you have a really rundown car, like you're driving some really old car. It's like 15 years old, and it's really not comfortable. The aircon is not working. It stinks. From outside, people look at it, it looks like a trash can. It's like really bad, and you can accept that, but you don't want your child to feel that way anymore, right? So you make a promise to your daughter and says, hey, dear, next year we're changing this car. We're going to throw this car away and we're going to get a brand new car for our family. And you make that deal. You make that promise. You look in your daughter's eye and then you say it. And your daughter trusts your words. You make a promise, right? And you plan to keep that. So that becomes your compelling reason. Or it could be you make a promise that it's, your wife being with you for like, if you're a guy, right, being with you like how many years, like say 5 years, 10 years and so on. And of all this, is every year you've been telling her that you're gonna bring her to Paris, you're gonna bring her to London, you're gonna bring her to South Africa, you're gonna bring her to Greece, to Santorini. You've been making this up and you keep on saying that, but you never do it. You say you're gonna bring her to Hawaii when I get my big break, and that never happens, Aren't you like sick and tired of making empty promises? So the compelling reason is that you tell her that, hey, dear, this year I'm going to bring you to Santorini, Greece, and it's not going to be based on my salary income because our salary income is for our family, but I'm going to make this extra income from a brand new business so that I'm going to bring you, right, for like a 1 week off holiday to Santorini, Greece, or anywhere, whatever, whichever place that you have decided with your wife. And you make that promise and you know that you cannot break it anymore. Now, that is how you create the right compelling reason that you can get started and take action, and there's like no plan B, that, I gotta do it because I'm not doing it for myself anymore. I'm doing it for someone that I care and I love, and I cannot let that person down. All right, so that's what I have. Now, if you're watching this training right now, and I want to know what is your compelling reason, and I hope that by sharing that, you can also compel others, motivate others, inspire upon others to build this business together with you, right? So go ahead and leave in a comment, what is your compelling reason? All right, with that said, this is Patrick here, and I look forward to share with you more insights from all of my best-selling books. Take care, bye.